Welcome back to Off Script, and I'm delighted to have John in the hot seat.
Hi.
Hi, John. Why don't you start by telling us who you are, how long you've been here, what you do?
So my name's John Chugg. Most people know me as Chuggy. I also get Evil John, Evil Chuglet, Big John, or as I get called by HR, Old Chuggy.
Okay, this is all good because I'm
yeah.
often on the hot phone to you, so I now know.
It's usually Chuggy or Chuglet.
Okay.
That's what I've been for. Yeah, for some reason Chuglet, even though I'm 20 stone and 6 foot. So I work in the IT operations team. I'm the service delivery team leader. I've been here 3 years now. I do a lot of the coordinating with the other team leaders and the other line managers around the company, and keep an eye on the help desk and make sure all the tickets are dealt with when they come in, dealt with in a sort of a timely fashion, should we say?
Yeah, and so one of the reasons why I like doing these podcasts is because I get to meet people that perhaps I haven't really interacted very much with before, or never even met, or re-engaged with people that have been here. So it's fair to say that I think we've met quite a few times, right?
Once or twice.
Am I one of your best customers?
Best might be pushing it.
Most frequent. Let's put that.
Yeah. There are different definitions of best, should we say?
I think it was only the other day you were in my kitchen.
Oh, it was, yeah, with the dogs.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm assuming there's others that are more frequent than me. Maybe like the CEO. Is that?
Yes. Yeah, we've dealt with Matt a few times. I've sat in Matt's kitchen as well, with Matt's problems.
So I can guess what they are. Generally, Matt, I think if I had to put it, I think I probably go through more mobile phones than that.
Yeah, you've got an amazing habit of your mobile phone always seems to break whenever a new one's released.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
It's uncanny.
And Matt has the same, I think, with laptops. I've never known anyone. Poor Matt, he gets the brunt of it. He always comes up in these shows. Yeah, he goes through a few laptops, right?
He's been through a few. I believe one was left on the roof of his car at one point, and yeah, he's been through a few. Yeah. I don't think we've been able to find all of them that he's had, shall we say? So I'm not looking forward to doing the asset register and trying to find all of Matt's laptops.
Bless him. And I do know it's because he works the keyboards very hard as well, and blows the engine.
Yeah.
That's probably. Yeah. I think it's probably a.
Yeah, that's your way of looking at it.
And
a bad workman always blames his tool, shall we say? And
so is it just locally? I mean, obviously we've got multi-estates now. Do you end up travelling, or are you?
I do, yeah. So we do inductions every month now for new starters.
Okay. That's interesting.
We tend to do those either in Taunton or we go up to the Stoke office.
Yeah.
So between myself and Jim, we travel up to the Stoke office and do inductions for new starters. So we get to actually go around a bit. We've got one of our engineers who's based in Northampton, so I tend to pop to Northampton to see him every now and then, so we can do one-to-ones and actually see each other face to face rather than just talking, on Teams. But yeah, I do tend to get around.
That's
a bit,
good. And what does the induction comprise of then? Is that more about the assets and the sort of stuff that they have?
So what we do is we try to give people an idea of what IT do. We also want to let people know that
you just turn things off and turn them back.
We do that. No, we call it repowering. It's a nicer way of saying it. But no, we try and show people that we're not these faceless guys who just sit in a basement all day.
Yeah.
So one of the first things we do on the induction is I've got a picture of all of the team, and I go through the whole team and actually explain to everybody who we are and what we do, and talk about each individual member of the team. So they've kind of got an idea of who we are, and when they send us a message or submit a ticket and we contact them back, they know who they're dealing with. So it's nicer. Yeah, it just lets people know that we're not just the geeks. I mean, none of us look like geeks.
Yeah.
I mean, you've met most of the team, and we're not your typical IT geeks. Like I said, I'm 6 foot 20 stone, mohawk, rides a Harley, so I'm not your typical IT geek. So we're a bit different.
Yeah.
And we like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. There sounds like there's a story there, though. Like Harley, mohawk.
I've been a biker for a long time, so
Yeah.
I'm between bikes, should we say, at the moment.
Okay.
So I sold my.
Oh, yeah, no, because I think I've seen the bike I think I've seen your bike, and then I've seen a car.
Yeah, so I've sold the bike. So I've got a Volkswagen Transport van,
Yeah.
so that I'm converting at the moment. But believe it or not, I sold my Harley so I could buy an electric mountain bike. So a bit different.
It is a bit different. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had my first experience on an electric bike a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Nearly killed a 10-year-old boy. But it was literally because these aren't very powerful electric bikes,
Yeah.
so not probably the ones that you're talking about for the woods. But the thing that threw me was, even though it's not very fast, it suddenly goes from standing still to a pace.
Yeah.
And if you've never driven one, it's like, oh, hold on a second.
Yeah, they sometimes they do take a bit of getting used to,
Yeah.
because the more you pedal, the faster they'll go, obviously. But
Yeah.
it gives you that little bit of
Yeah.
extra oomph as well.
And I've been riding them in London because I've
Yeah.
discovered I've now got a Lime account, which is like, I think it's owned by Uber, which is really random. But
Yeah.
you can just pick up these bikes anywhere in London,
All right.
and like you hire them on your phone, and you can pretty much drop them off anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's quicker. It's quicker than taxis.
Nice.
Although I'm not really sure from a health and safety whether that would be permitted. And now when this goes out, I might get banned from doing that.
Yeah. Maybe that bit we can cut out.
So is like IT, is that the supporting role that you do? Is that something that you wanted to go into, been in for a long time before working here?
Been in for a long time, yeah. Was it something I ever wanted to go into? No, not at all. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a copper. I wanted to be a policeman.
Okay.
And then I've had a massively varied career. So I wanted to be a policeman. I left school and did construction, so I'm a fully qualified site manager, even though I've never spent any time on a building site in my life. Then I became a fishmonger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot to dive in there.
And then after being a fishmonger, I joined the Royal Air Force. So I've done a bit of everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so have there been things that have triggered wanting to do that, or you've just been inspired by different people, different events?
I mean, the going into construction was inspired because that's what my mates did at college.
Yeah.
So I just followed them. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a police officer, but I knew I couldn't do that straight from school. The joining the Air Force came from I wanted to do something that was not your boring regular job. I wanted to do something meaningful. So I was in the Air Force for 5 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, when I left, I did a few sort of dead-end jobs working with friends and things like that. And cut a long story short, I wanted to carry on doing something meaningful. So I wanted to go into nursing. I actually wanted to be a paediatric nurse, children's nurse. So my best friend's mum is was very high level in nursing. She was kind of matron level and above.
Right.
So I spoke to her about it. And obviously nurses get paid a pittance, but some hospitals will sponsor nurses. And she said you've got a much better chance of getting sponsored if you've got a background of working in the kind of the field you want to go into. So I started looking at jobs working with children, and I became manager of a children's home. So I started off just looking after children in care, naughty boys and girls for want of a better word. And then I became a registered care manager. So I was a registered care manager of a children's home for a long time.
I should imagine that's quite a hard but rewarding job.
Yeah, it is very much both in
because they're not
equal amounts.
The kids that are naughty, like, are kids. So there are things that presumably have gotten to a place where they want to challenge authority, and they are like that. Because people aren't born necessarily that way. So it must be tricky.
The majority of them, aren't born like that. Yeah. Some that I've dealt with, I think, were. Yeah. But the majority of them, they've just got into, parents have split up, and they got in with the wrong crowd type of thing. But they wanted to challenge authority. But it's very strange because they want to challenge authority, and they want to challenge you because you are authority. But at the same time, they also want the stability that you give them. Yeah. I remember my first month in the job when I was doing my training with my wife now, because she actually trained me how to do the job, and that's how we met. And I asked her how I was doing, and she said, "You're okay, you can say no." And I didn't get what she meant at first. And if you can say no to them, they understand that when you say no and you mean no, at least you're stable. At least you're
Okay.
at
There's
least they
some
know they
structure.
can rely on you.
Yeah.
Whether it's to say yes or no, they can still rely on you. And it's quite a big thing to be able to say no to a kid.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just, oh, go on then.
Yeah.
But to be able to say no to them and actually, stand by it was a big thing.
And I should imagine standing by it would be difficult because I would imagine some of them challenge you to change your mind.
Yeah, they do. I didn't get a lot of challenges because obviously my size and but they still will try. It also didn't help them that I was a restraint and self-defense instructor as well.
A what?
Restraint. So
okay.
Yeah, even though you don't like to sort of think about it, sometimes the kids need to be restrained.
Yeah,
to stop them from getting into any further trouble.
Yeah.
So I was an instructor in that, and self-defense as well that we used to use for across the country. So I used once they found that out, they would initially want to challenge it.
Yeah.
Realise they would fail, and then we were okay. But it was strange because some of those kids, it was a long time ago now, so some of those kids now are fully grown adults in their 30s, they've got kids, they're doing really well, and every now and then I'll meet up with one, and
That's really lovely.
we get on like a house on fire,
That must be quite inspiring for you.
It is. It's an amazing feeling knowing that, they've done all right.
Yeah.
And, knowing that they want to still be friends with you, they still want to contact you all these years down the line. It's great.
Oh, that's really lovely.
Yeah.
So how did you go from that to fishmongery?
Well, no, fishmongering was when I was a kid. It was my first job when I was a kid. That was because I just needed a job when I was 16 and I left school. And one of my best mates said, oh, they've got jobs down at Asda going on the fish counter. I've just applied for it. So I applied for it as well, and I got it. And felt really bad when I had to tell him because he was around my house when I got the telephone call. But that was just one of the many random jobs. So it's like, my career path has never been, do you know what, I really want to work in IT when I was a kid. It's kind of something that I fell into. I've always been a geek. I've always been good at IT.
Yeah.
And while I was looking after the kids in care, it's not a job you can do forever because it takes a huge toll on you, especially when you're a manager as well, when you kind of take on the problems of the staff that are struggling as well. So I started looking at something different, and a few online IT courses came up, and I thought I'll give it a go. So the first course that I did was supposed to have taken a year, and I did it in about 6 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
The second one was supposed to have taken about 2 years, and I did it in about 2 or 3 months. And I thought, I'm all right at this.
Yeah,
I can do this. So I applied for a job and didn't get it because I didn't have enough experience. But the company I applied for said, would you like to stay on and just do some unpaid work experience with us? Just come in while I was still looking after the kids. So I would do a 24-hour shift looking after the kids, and then finish at sort of 10:30 and go and work with them for a few hours, just so I kind of got a bit of a.
I love that.
Yeah, bit of a
so
experience.
Unpaid, but you're just doing it for the experience.
Unpaid, so I could just go in and
I love that.
Yeah, and I learned more in the first couple of months of doing that than I did in any of the courses.
I think sort of having that investment in yourself is something that I look at and I get inspired by.
Yeah.
I remember we had someone who used to work here a few years ago, and she was after a job, and it was in HR, and she wrote to us, and there wasn't a job, and she was just like, "Well, I'll come and do it. I'll come and do it for nothing. I'll come and work for you for a bit." And it was just like, "Hold on a second. I need this person in my business." Because people are willing to sort of just take a step back and just to invest in themselves.
Yeah, because it's difficult.
Rich.
You can do all the courses, but and I teach my guys this as well. That my engineers that I work with. You can have all the certifications, but if you haven't got the experience, it's the experience that people want. Yeah. So I did the courses and passed the courses and thought I could just waltz into a job, but I couldn't because I knew nothing about the job. Yeah. And I learned so much just learning it. Yeah. And that was a huge thing for me. Yeah, I did that for a few months, and then they eventually offered me a job. Oh. So I left the kids in care, which blessing and a curse. I loved it at one point, but towards the end I was starting to hate it because it was.
I can imagine, yeah.
It was difficult. I had a daughter myself, and she was starting to grow up, and it was I wouldn't see a group of kids and think, oh, that's nice little group of kids playing. I would see a group of kids and think, I wonder what they're up to.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't want to feel like that.
No,
I don't want to always be worrying about what they're doing and what my daughter's doing. So it was a nice segue. It was a nice
and quite unsociable hours, I would have thought as well.
Yeah, well, it was 24-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So you would start at 10 in the morning, work until the kids went to bed. Then you had to do all the paperwork, and then you would get to sleep overnight if the kids let you.
Yeah.
There was I had a funny story. My daughter, when she was a baby, she didn't sleep until she was about 4.5 years old. And when I say she didn't sleep, I mean she really, really didn't sleep at all. And we used to go in on shift, and one of the kids I used to look after would go in, and he'd say, "Oh, you're all right, John. How you doing? Did Maisie let you get any sleep last night?" And you're like, "No, mate, I'm absolutely hanging." He's like, and he genuinely said, "All right, we'll be good tonight. I'll tell the rest of them." And he would go off to the other kids and say, "Right, Chuggy didn't get any sleep last night, so we're going to be good tonight." And they would. They'd be good as gold. They would go to bed at their correct time, and then the next day they'd be little shits.
But that's obviously the respect that you commanded,
Yeah.
right? Because that isn't going to happen with everyone.
No, it doesn't. It was lovely. I mean that particular.
You weren't pulling up on a Harley then, were you? Because that
I did.
that is
yeah.
going to
Yeah.
gain a certain amount of kudos and
It
respect.
did, yeah. It did, to be fair. Yeah, I had a few, yeah. But they were, that particular kid. He was great. He's, you're not supposed to have favourites, but he was one of my favourites. We actually toyed with the idea of fostering him as well, myself and my wife. There was a couple of kids like that we really got on well with, and we're still in really good contact with now.
That's really lovely.
Yeah.
That's a touching story.
Yeah.
So, have you got any big plans? Are you aiming for something, a goal this year, next year, something personal? You obviously got a lot going on in your personal life, in work.
Well, I mean, work life. When I was interviewed for the job, I was asked where I wanted to be in 5 years' time.
Yep.
And my answer was, well, in your chair.
I love that.
Which is, I think, is the only way you've got to look up. So, so I said in your chair, and that's still the plan. So, my boss Jim, I'm still very much after his job, although his job slightly changed. I'm still very much after his job as it was.
Yeah, I had someone approach me in the business when they'd been here not very long, and that's exactly what they said. They said, "I'm after your job."
Yeah,
I was like, "That's good." I like that.
Yeah, you've got to have a plan.
100%. Yeah, definitely. And the sky's the limit, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I love it. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, have you got a question for me at all?
Yeah. Can I have a go in your Aston? No.
The answer's yeah.
No.
Although there's a hole in my radiator, I don't want to talk about that.
Oh no,
That's.
Yeah, no, I don't want to have a go, because if it makes it worse, then I'll get the blame.
No, it's in the garage. That's why I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, that's not going to be a cheap fix, is it?
It's not.
No, that's not a boiled egg in the radiator, is it?
No.
The old trick.
And you can't not get it fixed. Hold on, what do you mean a boiled egg in the radiator?
No, or it used to be an old trick, didn't it? For the older cars, used to, not a boiled egg, but you used to crack an egg into the radiator, and the egg would heat up and it would seal part of the radiator for a quick fix. But yeah.
And also, to be honest with you, right, it looks quite big, but it's quite a long car, but I don't think it's any good for a tall guy, a tall woman. No. It's like literally, there's little leg room in it, which is bizarre because it's quite long.
Yeah, no, maybe I'll leave it then. But yeah, no, my question for you is, so you're a good-looking guy, intelligent, you through your own hard work and endeavour and innovation, you've done all right for yourself.
Yeah.
If you could go back and talk to 18-year-old Jeremy, what would you tell him to do differently?
That's a really good question. I like that, and thank you for those compliments.
I just thought I'd lead you down one little path and then just bring you back.
So look, so here's the thing. I have trodden a path where I have failed at a lot of things, and I've come up against really challenging situations. But the reality of it is, I really love the life that I have, and I like, even though some things are really challenging and some things are really hard, and I kind of like the place of where I am and the place of where I'm going. And I think that the trodden path that I've had has been a learning exercise, and I try it's a good question because I don't know how to answer it, because I always try and live my life like I have no regrets about anything. So the actions that I take, if I failed at something, if I've created something negative, I try and understand how I can not be in that situation again. And therefore, I kind of wouldn't really want to do anything different, because
kind of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, kind of.
Yeah, that sounds really arrogant, and it's not meant to be arrogant at all. It's just because there are no regrets. So the thing that I believe in is believing in the impossible, and I just, I think that is something that is true to me, and I try and be the best person I can, which I'm not always the best person, and sometimes I'm a shit. Sometimes I'm probably shit to live with, and a bit shit boss, but the version of me, I'm always trying to be better. So, so maybe just carry on believing. That sounds like
Are you genuinely finishing off with a song lyric? Don't Stop Believing.
Who's that by?
Journey.
I don't know. Are you gonna?
It's a very old song.
Is it? Are you like?
Are you going to ask me to sing? No.
Yeah. I did ask someone to sing. I've got a no so far.
Okay.
Right, so we've got one of these questions, and so if you want to take one of those questions, we're both going to answer it, and whoever can answer it first should go first. One of us might need a pause to think about it.
Okay. What's the best gift you've ever received?
Oh my gosh. What's the best gift I've ever received? Wow. Are you thinking of this answer as well?
I'm thinking whether to go down the schmaltzy, the gift of life, or my daughter, or something that was
that's a good
gift.
cliche.
Yeah.
But let's just assume that, our children are the best gifts.
Yeah.
So apart from that, I don't know whether, this is interesting. Best gift? I can tell you what my last gift that I received was. Yeah. Which was, which is definitely not my best. But my last gift was a couple of days ago, out of the blue. My girlfriend is in Mexico, and before she left, she sent me a DIY margarita kit, right? So we could FaceTime each other while she's on the beach. I'm at home with a margarita. So nice. Whilst that isn't my best, but we can flex off of this. That was my last gift of a couple of days ago, and it was out of the blue. And I made a margarita yesterday. So nice. I'm going with my last gift.
Your last gift, okay. The first thing that popped into my head, apart from the family and things, was when I was about 16, and it was a mountain bike, but it's not the gift as such. It was the way I had it. It was a Christmas present from my parents. And I knew I had it because I chose it. And when it arrived, I had to build it. And then my dad took it away from me until Christmas Day and left it in our garage. And our garage wasn't with our house. It was about a quarter of a mile away. So I knew that I was having it. And all day, Christmas Day, I was just waiting for it. And I was just waiting for it. So the gift was probably my dad just going, go on then. And that was the first thing that popped in my head. I love it. That was my favourite gift.
The anticipation
it was. It was. So the gift was probably just my dad going, go on then, and giving me the garage key.
I feel like your answer is so much more richer and
Yeah. So mine was the gift of giving. Yours was a margarita.
Yeah. Maybe that says a lot about me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Well, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers.